Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. Hey, Jessica. Nice to meet you as well. Now, are all you folks living here in Queens?
Yes, we are.
You are.
Queens
Are you all
residents.
registered Republicans?
We're going to start off with a Pledge of Allegiance led by Felix Henkel, a great patriot from the neighborhood.
Thank you, Phil. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Queens Village Republican Club, we're here in President Trump's hometown, where our president was born and raised, and also so Queens is really hot, and we're going to focus locally. Now it's time to save New York. The fight for New York has just begun, and we're here to kick it off tonight. So we have some really great speakers tonight whom you'll hear from. We want to hear from you. We're going to have a Q&A at the end, and pipe up and ask your questions and speak up, because we're all part of the next speaker I want to call up, his name is Henry Ikezi, but many of us know him as just Henry Ike. And in fact, he likes to be called Henry Ike. Is that right, Henry?
Yes, sir.
Henry Ike is the Republican candidate for Queens Borough President. And I tell you, all of us can agree, Donovan Richards gotta go! Donovan Richards was the one who, I just want to say a little, I mean, this just, blows my top off, that he was the one who welcomed the illegal, unvetted migrants to Queens. Queens has the most illegal migrant shelters in all of New York City, in fact, in all of the state. He was there at Creedmoor. I live 6 blocks away from the illegal migrant tent facility, the tent city at Creedmoor. 1,000 unvetted male illegal aliens in our neighborhood. And Donovan Richards was there, rolling out the red carpet. He was crying that they didn't have enough scooters. Anyway, a little bit about Henry Ike. He's a prominent figure in the Queens, New York real estate scene. He's a successful investor, musician, record label owner, author, and he launched the Queens Revolution, a rallying call to reshape the future of Queens. So our Republican candidate for Queens Borough President, let's give him a warm welcome from the Queens Village Republican Club.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Isn't that a warm welcome? I feel at home in here. Thank you. A very good evening to you all. A happy new year to you all. I feel like it's going to be an exciting year. We have taken America back. And let's give it up for our President-elect Donald Trump. Multiple assassination attempts, court cases in multiple jurisdictions, and the man fought and fought and won. America spoke, and he's going to be our next president. Very noble what Donald Trump has done, and we got to do more of that, particularly right here in Queens. A quick story. I got a phone call a few months ago before Trump got elected that the Trump team wanted me to make a speech supporting his candidacy. True story, right? Poor little kid from Queens getting a phone call from the Trump team to make a video in support of the Trump candidacy. Now, before I say that, I see a couple of my campaign team members here, my family, so I must acknowledge them because my mom's gonna be very mad at me. So give it up for my mom and my brothers and sisters that all came out here to support me really quickly. And my campaign team, George, Zara, Cherie, and all of the people of Queens that has helped fuel and push this campaign, I'm truly grateful to have your support. So back to my story. So when the Trump team called and asked me to do this video in support of Donald Trump, whom I believed in, whom I believe strongly that he's going to be the one to drive this country back in place with all the mess we've got going on, I said I'm going to do it. I was at the gym at the time, so I said, you got to give me some time. I need a couple of weeks. I've got to get a camera crew together. I need lighting. I got to shave and dress up nice. They said, Sir Henry, you got 5 minutes to do this. I said, what do you mean 5 minutes? I'm at the gym. Trump needs it in 5 minutes. I said, this is a massive opportunity for me. I can't pass on this. So I walked outside, I looked at myself up and down. I've got a big headphones on my ear, and I said, you know what? When you get a call in, you got to stand up, and you got to make it happen. No excuses. Remember, we're Queens strong. We don't back down from a fight. So I said, I don't care. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do my best and I'll send it out. So I run outside of the gym. My son's inside and I said, Henry, you got to wait for me. I got to call in. I got to take this. So I put my headphones on with my camera facing me and I'm making this speech. I'm supporting Donald J. Trump for president because I believe he'll preserve our traditional value, bring manufacturing back to our country, and get us back on track. He's done it before. He'll do it again. Thank you. And send the video out, right? Pretty short, simple, to the point. 10 minutes later, I said, let me watch this video and see what I just sent. I looked at it. I was wobbling all over the place just like I am now, and there was a lot of wind noise. I was sweaty, and I called the individual that sent me the request that I sent the video to. I said, don't send that video. I don't like the way it looked. He said, I agree with you. The headphones were really overshadowing the whole thing, and you were moving back and forth. I don't think it's good. So I said, can you give me a chance to do it again? They said, no, it's been sent out, and more than likely, they're not going to use it because it's just so bad. Kind of sad, right? You know where this is going. So to make a long story short, the next day, I woke up to over 300,000 Instagram followers on my Instagram, countless messages, my phone's blowing up. Donald Trump had used my video and featured me on his YouTube, and the media picked it up. Right? Look at this small kid from Queens. Now tell me there's not a God for something like that to happen. A little kid from Queens that just wanted to make his community better, that was sick and tired of false and fake leadership. So anyway, that was great. And that's why when God calls, we answer. So 30 years ago, a young family from Africa came to America, to Queens specifically, in search of the American dream and treatment for their daughter. When they got to America, they didn't have a lot of money. They came with all of their savings. And the only thing they could find was a one-bedroom apartment in the most distressed part of Queens at the time, in Southside Jamaica. Mother, father, just like many of us in here, many immigrant families that come here, they came in here, they got the little they can find with the little money they had, and put their kids in this one-bedroom apartment with the hope that if you work hard, you struggle, you have good faith, and teach your kids right, one day you too will succeed. Well, they believe in the traditional values and they believe in the American dream. Well, one thing they didn't want the government's hands in their pocket. They wanted small government, and they wanted to work hard and do the right thing and teach their kid. So one of those kids in there, he didn't like education too much. He was a vocational kind of guy. He liked to build houses and fix things and build blocks together, but he was also claustrophobic. So whenever he was home and had to deal with his teenage siblings, he didn't sit too well with him. And by the way, when I go out and speak, I don't carry notes because I talk to you guys straight up. I'm a straight shooter. So this one kid will struggle with being in this tight environment with his siblings and struggle for privacy and who's gonna drink in the last bottle of milk in the fridge and who's gonna wear whose shoes and those kinds of things. And he said, there's a problem here. I don't like it. I'm gonna try to do something about it. You see, they lived in South Jamaica, Queens, and he had to go to school in Long Island City, Aviation High School, precisely. So during that 2-hour ride to school, he would take a bus, the Q6 bus, and 2 trains to school. During that ride, he would think about and plot on how he would get his family out of this struggle and get them into a bigger home, because that was the problem he was facing at the time. So one day, he would get out of the train, and rather than taking the bus home, he'll walk through the neighborhood in South Jamaica, Queens, looking at these colonial homes, and whichever one he saw was distressed, he would knock on the door and ask if there was a way he could negotiate purchasing the property. Now, he didn't know too much about doing this other than he's gone to the library and read books about how to develop distressed properties and how to buy properties with no money down, just being self-taught. Now, this is the best part about the story. A few weeks after doing this, he found a distressed property, negotiated with the owner, and shortly after, he was able to acquire that property, 0 money down, using creative financing and all of the skills he had taught himself, and acquired that property. The property was in distress, so he gathered his friends together from Queens, and the folks from Queens love to help each other, especially when you have a good idea. They fixed up that home, and the family moved out of this 1-bedroom, small, 300 square feet attic into a beautiful 5-bedroom home this 17-year-old kid has built. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Henry Ike. I am that kid, and I stand here before you saying that Queens has a problem, and I'm here to tackle it on to be the next Queens Borough President. My message is very simple. The city has its budget priorities screwed up. You look at what's going on, our people that work hard and sacrifice hard, like my mother that came here from Africa and worked her butt off, struggling to pay rent, struggling to pay their mortgage. Meanwhile, the city has deployed millions of dollars to house migrants, particularly in hotels. It's embarrassing. They're creating a nuisance in our community, affecting our public safety, and also affecting the quality of lives of people that live here and have sacrificed here. We gotta say no to that. We need a leader that's gonna fight to bring back our traditional values, bring back prosperity in Queens, and bring back all of those values that we long wanted in Queens. My other message is very simple. Education. I got kids. And we look at the way the kids are learning nowadays, we're not going to be able to compete. Our kids are not going to be able to compete in the future. So we need to make sure that, once again, our budget priorities is in line to make sure we're not cutting services from our public schools. We're deploying capital to keep extracurricular activities in our schools, to make sure they're learning with the best technology. And a guy like myself that believe in vocational training, we need more vocational trainings in our schools. So those kids that don't want to stay in school because they don't like the traditional learning, they can learn vocational, stay in school longer, and not roam our streets. And that brings me to my last thing. Crime is an issue. Was it yesterday that we heard there was a shooting right here in Jamaica, Queens at a club? It's ridiculous. What are we doing here? We gotta tackle public safety. We need to be able to walk the street, particularly our mothers and our daughters, take the subway and not be worried about being shot, being pushed. We need to deploy the right kind of system. And I'm the kind of guy where if I don't know how to do something, I get the best experts to do it. See, over the last 30 years, I've spent my life developing affordable housing and cutting deals with distressed properties in Queens, particularly challenging properties that require rezoning, rebuilding, reconstruction, that sort of thing. So I know I'm well equipped to handle the issues the city has. Because I've done it in my business, I can do it for the city. And lastly, my bread and butter, affordable housing. We gotta make sure our people have housing. But I can't do all of this alone. We gotta unite. We gotta do more. We gotta get more people to support the Republican Club like this so that our messages can spread all across and we can get rid of this failed leadership and put in new leadership that's going to put the people in Queens first place, not just today, but all the time. They're all talk, slow action. So we need solutions, not politics. So I hope I can get all of your support. I'll be here to answer as many questions as possible. And I want to thank the Republican Club for inviting me, to allow me to spread my message. I'm going to keep fighting for the people of Queens, and I'm not going to stop until we see Queens the way we expect it to be today and in the future. Thank you guys very much to support the movement. I need you guys to I need you all to support me at voteike.com. Make a small contribution. It sends a powerful message to not just my opponent, but also it sends a message of unity, that we stand united in this fight to make Queens a better place. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you very much. Henry Ike. Folks, I know it's 2 days after New Year's, and if you're like me, you're still hungover. Hopefully our next Queens borough president save our borough, Queens. We need to do it. So thank you very much, Henry, for stepping up.
This is for Henry. What is your viewpoint of the city of Yes? Where do you stand on that?
Good question.
That's a great question, and I'm a Queens guy. In fact, I'll go as far as saying I'm a Queens Village guy because my mom here raised us in Queens Village on 209th Street. So when it comes to the city of Yes, quite frankly, I have two views. One view is I wonder if the big donors and the big developers that has their hands in our system manipulated or made suggestions as to how that city of Yes was passed. Because when I look at it closely, I see not much for homeowners, but a lot for developers. And so we have to get experts in there. And for me, when I'm elected borough president, my job will be to put the people of Queens first place. Any kind of land use proposal that's going to be passed, I'm going to make sure the people are the beneficiaries of it, not the big developers. Because at the end of the day, we're still seeing families out here struggling for housing, and migrants benefiting, and developers fattening their pockets. So we got to make sure the people of Queens are put first place. And when you look at some proposals in that City of Yes bill that was recently passed, they want to legalize basements. And it wasn't too long ago that I saw people dying from floods, from fires in their basement.
And all the politicians showed up to say this won't happen again, and now they're advocating for legalizing basements.
So how the hell is that going to work? You tell me. You're going to pack people in basements for what? And garages. So you got to make it make sense. And a lot of these are common sense, solution-based situations that you all in here, you have common sense, and you know when something doesn't make sense. And when I'm elected, we're going to have some common sense solutions passed. This is not common sense.
All right, just so everybody knows, I owned a real estate appraisal company for 30 years. And there's a big problem with this whole thing, like you just stated, with the basements. Okay, Fannie Mae buys 80% of all mortgages in the secondary market. They cannot have basement apartments. Any livable square footage below below grade level is not considered livable square footage. Therefore, you cannot put that and get a mortgage on that property. So when we talk about common sense, we look at policies that are put into place that people just don't even think about. They don't even look at that component of it, and that's major when they buy 80% of all the mortgages. All right, so, you hope we get politicians in there that we have to get in there to say, people think, all right, this isn't gonna work. People won't be able to get mortgages. And nobody even discusses that.
Thank you. Question?
Hi, this is for Ike. When you say affordable housing, can you go into a little more detail? Because my son just became FDNY. He can't afford an apartment. So is that affordable housing for all? Like, how would you determine affordable housing? Or define it?
Now, you know we got a problem if a firefighter can't afford to live here. Doesn't make sense. So the city and the borough president has mechanisms to employ to make sure housing is affordable, particularly for the working class folks here in Queens. And these are things that we gotta look at. Homes need to be affordable again, not just for migrants and that sort of thing, but people that work here, pay taxes here, have sacrificed, especially our first responders, our law enforcement partners, our teachers, our nurses. They gotta be able to live here. I'm tired of people calling me and saying, Henry, I'm leaving Queens, I'm going to Ohio, I'm going to North Carolina, I'm going to Florida. The crime here isn't getting better. It's not getting any more affordable here. But it's getting worse. That's not adding up. So we gotta clean up our borough, and we gotta bring housing that makes sense for the folks that live here and work here.
Who else?
We want you running for state committee. All of this happens only if you get involved. And that's the important part of this. All right, we need a borough president candidate. We need somebody who's challenging the current system and getting the Constitution back to where it belongs.
Thank you. Question?
Hi, this is for Ike. When you say affordable housing, can you go into a little more detail? Because my son just became FDNY. He can't afford an apartment. So is that affordable housing for all? Like, how would you determine affordable housing? Or define it?
Now, you know we got a problem if a firefighter can't afford to live here. Doesn't make sense. So the city and the borough president has mechanisms to employ to make sure housing is affordable, particularly for the working class folks here in Queens. And these are things that we gotta look at. Homes need to be affordable again, not just for migrants and that sort of thing, but people that work here, pay taxes here, have sacrificed, especially our first responders, our law enforcement partners, our teachers, our nurses. They gotta be able to live here. I'm tired of people calling me and saying, Henry, I'm leaving Queens, I'm going to Ohio, I'm going to North Carolina, I'm going to Florida. The crime here isn't getting better. It's not getting any more affordable here. But it's getting worse. That's not adding up. So we gotta clean up our borough, and we gotta bring housing that makes sense for the folks that live here and work here.
Who else?
First you, then away. All right, my question, I have two questions. Sorry for Henry. First question, very simple. There seems to be, or there is very likely that you are going into a primary. First question is, how close are you to matching funds? Second question is, if you win the primary, how are you going to help our down ballot city council candidates? Very important, we flip the city council. So, you being higher on the ticket, how are you going to help our lower candidates?
That's a very, two good questions. To answer your first question, I'm a straight shooter, like I stated earlier. very transparent. And in fact, the donations for our campaign, as you know, with the Campaign Finance Board of New York, is public record. I believe with all of your support tonight, we're going to hit the matching program, and the city can 8x our funds, and we can be more emboldened and empowered to win this race. Because the Democrats, they've got a lot of money. And we know this is a business to a certain extent, right? Even though I'm not a politician, I understand the game. So we got to raise a lot of money so we can fight. And that's why I'm asking for your support. So to answer your question, we're very, very close to it. I don't know where it's at now, but my treasurer can answer that question for you later on. I'll give you precise numbers. But nonetheless, it's on the website. And your second question was, am I going to support our other brothers that I feel what they're doing is noble to get the Republican Party on the map? Yes. And in fact, before I started even announcing my campaign, I supported the Assembly. A good friend of mine that ran last November, Dwayne Moore, I supported him. Castro, that also ran, big time supporter. We donated the most money that anyone can donate. I donated a ton to them. I asked my family and friends to donate to them. So I'm going to continue to support the party. And hopefully I'm going to the inauguration where I'm going to shake hands with a lot of other Republican brothers, and I'm going to throw my support. And the whole thing is about supporting each other, uniting and pushing each other up. We can't do this alone. When we unite, we win. So we got to stand united. We got to fight and support all of our brothers and sisters that are running for this great cause.
Thank you, Henry. By the way, how many are going to the inauguration? One, two. Okay, a few people. One more question.
Hi, my question is for Henry Iden. We have a borough president that's very hostile to parents who uphold the values that most of us in this room uphold. He caters to a fringe group of parents. My question to you is, what is your stand on parental rights and on school choice?
Good one. Good one.
Good question.
My answer might be a little biased because I have my very strict mother in the house tonight. We hardcore believe in education, but more importantly, we believe in freedom of choice. I'm not going to put any restrictions if I'm given the opportunities on how parents want to educate their kids, so long as they understand the importance of education. Education, in fact, is the future. I don't agree with what Donovan Richards is doing. I don't agree with his leadership. And that's why I embarked on this crucial journey to run to be the next borough president. So all I'm going to say is, I'm not going to fall for the divisive politicking or throwing jabs with the current borough president. I just know he's got to go, and I'm going to do it respectfully. And with your help, we all go, we show the fight what we're made of in November. We donate to support the candidate that aligns with our traditional values, and we're going to win. And so as far as education goes, we're lagging big time in education. My kids go to public school here, and I think the way they're teaching them here in schools are way behind. They're cutting funding for extracurricular activities. And you look at some of the crime that's happening with the car thefts and the burglary and all that. A lot of it is kids leaving school early because they're not happy with the way they're being taught and going out and burglarizing cars and that sort of thing. So we got to do better with that. And the craziest thing today, just today, I parked my vehicle, went into the supermarket, literally less than 2 minutes, I came out and I got a ticket for an expired meter. When you call the police, they take forever to show up. So our government has to be held accountable. Our budget priorities got to be in line with things that truly matter, quality of life in Queens. So these are things I'm going to be fighting for, to make sure Queens is a place that people really want to live in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give a big hand to our speakers for tonight's program. And thank you very much. We are asking all of you to continue to come back and to write for our newspaper here locally in the community to awaken the population Shake it, okay. To awaken and honor our veterans through the Reefs Across America program, Lou DeMarco. So if anyone wants a sweatshirt, see Lou after the meeting. Also, we have our precinct strategy meetings every Tuesday at Padovan Prella Field House. The information and address is up on the website. So that's every Tuesday, 7 o'clock, where we train and get information on what it is to become a county committee and a state committee man and use the precinct strategy to win New York State. So also...
The one.
The flag.
This one? I did the same. I don't know where I put it.
I think it was like 5.
I've been waiting to fight for you guys.
That's why it's out of school. It's encouraging though to have someone like you come in and take on that fight. Because you're coming from the same, I grew up in Queens Village. So that's crazy. That's good. We were on 270 Street.
Our first meeting, thank you.
Yeah.
I learned who you are now. A lot of politicians. This is not me, but I'm a straight shooter, so I come out there.
Straight shooter is what you need. That's what you need.
I do the drum I'm a Texan. But yeah, man. Good luck to you. Give me my card and I'll give you guys a hat. And I need folks like you. Oh, man. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. My wife